Welcome to our channel. Today, we bring you news that weighs heavy on the heart. Some truly remarkable people have recently left this world. In this video, we will share their stories, their legacy, their final chapters. As a sign of remembrance and in support of their memory, please subscribe, leave a like, and share your thoughts in the comments. Your simple action can help others hear their stories and keep their memory alive. We won't delay any longer. Let's begin this tribute to those we've lost. On April 30th, 2025, in Rochester, New York, the world lost Miriam Eloise Callahan, a trailblazing American journalist, author, and human rights advocate, whose voice illuminated some of the darkest corners of modern history. She passed away peacefully, in the same neighborhood where, over 5 decades earlier, she had published her first column in a small, underground newsletter fighting for labor rights. Miriam was born on June 2, 1946, in Gary, Indiana, to a steelworker father and a school librarian mother. Her childhood was a study in contradictions, soot-filled skies, but shelves full of poetry. Her parents, staunch believers in civil liberties, encouraged free thinking and political debate at the dinner table. The assassination of Emmett Till occurred when Miriam was just 9, and it marked her deeply. "It was the first time," she later wrote, "that I understood the difference between justice and law." She earned a scholarship to Columbia University, where she majored in political science and minored in philosophy. It was during her junior year that she witnessed the student uprisings of 1968, an experience that transformed her from a scholar into a journalist. Miriam began writing for independent political journals, covering protests, union strikes, and early feminist movements. Her reporting was raw, urgent, and unflinchingly human. In 1972, she joined the editorial board of the New York Ledger, where she spent the next 3 decades carving a space for long-form investigative journalism. Her early exposé on illegal surveillance by private corporations earned her the George Polk Award in 1975 and positioned her as one of the first American women to gain national recognition for investigative reporting. In 1982, Miriam founded Voices Without Borders, a groundbreaking international reporting initiative that trained young journalists in war zones and oppressed regions. The program grew to include contributors from 37 countries and was credited with uncovering numerous human rights abuses that mainstream media had overlooked or ignored. She received the Pulitzer Prize for International Reporting in 1989, after a year-long investigation into systemic abuse in refugee camps along the Myanmar-Bangladesh border. In her acceptance speech, she said, "The pen is only mightier than the sword if someone has the courage to press it into paper soaked in truth." Miriam's career was not without conflict. In the late 90s, she publicly clashed with editors over censorship during the Gulf War. After resigning from the Ledger, she spent several years writing independent essays and launching Ink and Ashes, a nonprofit newsroom dedicated to editorial integrity and press freedom. Privately, Miriam was introspective and deeply loyal to a small circle of friends and family. She married once, to civil rights attorney Lionel Jenkins, but the two amicably separated after 10 years. They had one son, Marcus, who became a conflict resolution specialist for the United Nations. Their relationship was warm, though often tested by distance and her relentless work ethic. At home, Miriam kept a quiet routine: black coffee at sunrise, a stack of handwritten letters always awaiting reply, and a beloved cat named Isolde. She played classical piano poorly but with passion, and kept a framed photograph of James Baldwin on her desk as a spiritual anchor. To her students and ments, she was more than a teacher, she was a lighthouse. She mentored over 60 investigative journalists, many of whom now lead global newsrooms and advocacy organizations. She was known to say, "Don't look for the story, listen for the silence. Every fact is a muscle. If it doesn't move, it's dead." Write so that the forgotten can find themselves on the page. Despite being diagnosed with Parkinson's disease in 2019, Miriam remained active. She continued to teach remotely, record audio essays, and advise on ethical journalism panels. Her final essay, The Pulse of a Vanishing World, was published just 1 month before her passing and explored the role of journalism in a digitally overwhelmed society. Her last public appearance was at a symposium at Harvard, where she was honored with the Global Freedom of the Press Medal in 2023. She spoke softly, but with force. "We are not here to report what we see. We are here to witness what others hide." She passed away surrounded by books, notes, and letters, many unopened, a testament to a life that never stopped asking questions. Miriam Eloise Callahan left behind not just memories, but an entire era embodied in her writings, ideas, and students. On April 30, 2025, in Atlanta, Georgia, the world bid farewell to Leonard Franklin Hayes, a visionary American playwright, director, and educator, whose words breathed new life into American theater and gave voice to those history had tried to silence. He passed away in the very theater he helped restore nearly 40 years earlier, the Haven Street Playhouse, his last breath echoing in a place that had carried his first lines. Leonard was born on July 9, 1949, in Mobile, Alabama, in a neighborhood split by railroad tracks and social inequity. His father was a postman and amateur jazz pianist. His mother a seamstress who loved Tennessee Williams and could recite A Streetcar Named Desire from memory. The home was modest but alive with rhythm, of music, of language, of quiet resistance. Leonard later said, "I learned how to tell stories sitting beneath my mother's sewing table, watching her stitch truth into silence." His early years were marked by tragedy. At the age of 11, Leonard lost his younger sister to rheumatic fever, a grief that deepened his understanding of human fragility and later infused his characters with aching vulnerability. By the time he was 16, he had written 2 full-length plays, both rejected by local theaters. He pinned the rejection letters on his bedroom wall as reminders, not of failure, but of beginnings. Leonard earned a scholarship to Howard University, where he studied literature and drama. There, under the mentorship of Dr. Lorraine Hartwell, a fierce Black feminist playwright and educator, Leonard discovered the power of historical narrative in performance. He began weaving African American oral histories into dramatic structures, forming a style both lyrical and piercingly real. His senior thesis, The Price of Mourning, was staged at the Kennedy Center and drew national attention for its portrayal of post-war Southern Black life. In 1978, Leonard moved to Atlanta, where he co-founded the Southern Collective Theater Company, the first Black-led ensemble in the state dedicated to new works. His debut professional play, Salt and Hallelujah, premiered in 1980 and explored the forgotten stories of Black World War I veterans. It earned him the Obie Award for Distinguished Playwriting the following year, marking the first time a playwright outside New York had won the honor. Leonard's impact on American theater was profound. He pioneered a form of narrative layering that allowed characters from different time periods to coexist on stage, confronting each other across generations. His 1994 masterpiece, Iron in the Soil, used this method to tell the story of a Black farming family spanning from Reconstruction to the Reagan era. The play won the Pulitzer Prize for Drama in 1995, and was later included in curricula at over 100 universities. In 2007, he received the National Medal of Arts from the President of the United States for reshaping the American stage with voices long unheard. The award transformed him from a regional icon into a cultural institution. But Leonard's journey was not without difficulty. In the early 90s, he faced heavy criticism for his controversial play Paper Rebellion, which depicted a fictionalized uprising in a segregated school. It was banned in 5 states and led to the withdrawal of public funding for his theater. He responded not with silence, but with creation, writing Whispers of Ash, a quiet, haunting piece about love and resilience in the face of censorship. Privately, Leonard was contemplative, wry, and deeply gentle. He married poet Camille Rhodes in 1982. Their marriage was filled with poetry readings, creative tension, and candlelit arguments about Shakespeare. They separated amicably in 2004 but remained devoted co-parents to their daughter, Elise, now a noted theater critic. At home, Leonard drank strong black tea, collected typewriters, and wrote letters in longhand. He never owned a smartphone. He believed deeply in human presence and insisted on interviewing every new actor in his company personally, not to assess talent, but to understand soul. His teachings influenced hundreds of writers, directors, and actors, many of whom now lead major arts institutions. Through the Hayes Fellowship, established in 2010, underrepresented playwrights from rural communities were offered professional mentorship and publication opportunities. Among his most quoted insights were, "A story is a home, and every audience is someone looking for shelter. You don't write history, you give it a heartbeat. Pain is not the plot. What you do with it, that's the story." In his final years, Leonard was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer. He refused to be defined by the illness, continuing to teach workshops, revise scripts, and host weekly salons in his home until only days before his death. His final public appearance was at a university commencement, where he said, "Your voice is not your gift, your courage is." He passed away in the wings of his beloved theater, as the house lights dimmed for that evening's performance of Salt and Hallelujah. A single spotlight remained on, as if waiting for him to enter once more. Leonard Franklin Hayes left behind not just memories, but an entire era embodied in his writings, ideas, and students. Peter Hayden Dinklage was born on June 11, 1969, in Morristown, New Jersey, United States. He entered the world as the second of 5 children born to John Carl Dinklage, a dedicated physical education teacher at the local middle school, and Diane Dinklage, a passionate special education teacher who worked tirelessly to support children with learning differences. From the moment he opened his bright blue eyes in the modest family home on East Hanover Avenue, Peter was embraced by a household where kindness and perseverance were held in higher regard than physical stature, and where every child, whether tall or small, was encouraged to pursue their dreams with unshakable conviction. His 4 older sisters, Tina, Jill, Nancy, and Amy, rallied around him with protective affection, and his parents showered him with equal measures of love and gentle guidance. Though the family experienced the ordinary strains of working-class life, their home resonated with laughter, imaginative play, and a steadfast belief that each person's unique gifts were to be celebrated, rather than constrained. Long before any curtain rose or camera lens pointed his way, young Peter displayed a spark of creative zeal in the familiar surroundings of his family's living room. Even as a toddler, he delighted in imitating the voices of cartoon characters on the television, and he could be found crouched beside his sisters in the basement, arranging mismatched chairs into a makeshift stage for puppet shows that unfolded with all the drama of a Broadway premiere. At the age of 5, he discovered his first fascination with music when he tapped out simple rhythms on an old drum kit left behind by a neighbor, and his ears perked up at the thumping bass lines of funk records played by visiting cousins. Though his growth was slower than that of other boys his age due to a condition known as achondroplasia, Peter never felt diminished. Instead, he reveled in the expansiveness of his imagination and the way his family's unconditional support made him feel as boundless as any world-traveling adventurer. As he entered elementary school at St. Augustine School in his hometown, teachers quickly recognized Peter's precocious energy and flair for storytelling. He thrived in show-and-tell presentations, regaling classmates with improvised tales of heroic knights and space explorers, complete with witty dialogue and dramatic flourishes. He joined the school choir, where his clear, youthful voice carried over the harmonies, and he volunteered for every classroom skit and holiday pageant. His mother, Diane, often recalled how he would practice lines in the mirror for hours, memorizing poems and perfecting his puppet voices until each phrase felt like second nature. Despite occasional teasing from a few insensitive peers, Peter remained undeterred, buoyed by the knowledge that his family celebrated each creative endeavor, large or small. When he transitioned to Morrisdowns Middle School, Peter continued to channel his energy into the performing arts. He auditioned for the school musical and, to his delight, was cast in a supporting role, which required him to learn both singing and simple choreography. The thrill of standing under a spotlight, even one cobbled together from classroom lamps, galvanized his ambitions. He joined the drama club, where he first encountered the works of classic playwrights, Shakespeare, Chekhov, and Ibsen, studying soliloquies with an intensity that surprised his teachers. He took supplementary lessons in theater improvisation during Saturday workshops at a community arts center, savoring every opportunity to workshop scenes with older students and professional actors who volunteered their time. In a small, unassuming theater nestled beside a laundromat, he discovered that he could transform into anyone: an emboldened king, a scheming villain, or a lonely wanderer, simply by committing fully to a character's mindset and physicality. As adolescence brought its own trials, including the awkwardness of fitting into a world built for average-sized bodies, Peter's involvement in the arts offered both refuge and purpose. He attended Morristown High School, where he balanced a rigorous academic schedule with unwavering devotion to the stage. Under the mentorship of a dedicated drama teacher who recognized his potential, he honed his vocal projection, studied scene analysis, and practiced the art of listening and reacting, skills essential to collaborative performance. On weekday afternoons, he could be found rehearsing for school productions in the wood-paneled auditorium, deftly adapting classic comic scenes or enigmatic monologues from contemporary playwrights. His classmates noted how he brought an infectious sense of joy to rehearsals, cracking jokes to ease tension and offering gentle encouragement to more reserved ensemble members. By graduation in 1987, Peter had not only earned top marks in his English and theater courses but had also earned the admiration of faculty and peers for his steadfast commitment to the craft. With high school diploma in hand, Dinklage set his sights on formal training that would refine his raw talent into professional skill. He applied to and was accepted by Bennington College, a small liberal arts institution in Vermont known for its progressive theater program and emphasis on interdisciplinary exploration. Arriving on campus in the autumn of 1987, he immersed himself in a curriculum that wove together acting technique, voice and speech training, movement workshops, and the study of dramatic literature. Under the tutelage of veteran theater practitioners, he learned the principles of the Stanislavski system, explored the physical rigor of Grotowski exercises, and experimented with devised theater methods that required actors to generate original material collectively. He toured with the college's touring company, performing in historic town halls and school auditoriums across New England, adapting to varying stage sizes and audience demographics with consummate professionalism. Life at Bennington challenged Peter in unexpected ways. Surrounded by tall classmates and adjusting to the crisp mountain air, he faced occasional moments of self-doubt, particularly when early attempts at balcony rants or elongated stage business felt cumbersome within his stature. He fought through these insecurities by focusing on the truth of each moment and the emotional core of his characters. Late nights were spent poring over monologue anthologies and recording himself on an ancient cassette deck, analyzing each breath, each gesture, each inflection of tone. In the mornings, he jogged along the riverbank to strengthen his endurance, mindful that a performer's instrument was not only voice and imagination but also physical stamina. His perseverance paid off. By his junior year, he was cast in lead roles. King Lear stripped to his vulnerabilities, Willy Loman entangled in his tragic pride, and a host of contemporary characters grappling with modern anxieties, earning praise in local reviews and standing ovations from community audiences. After earning his Bachelor of Arts degree in theater in 1991, Dinklage relocated to New York City, determined to launch a professional career on stage and screen. He settled in a modest Manhattan apartment, where he rehearsed scenes in living room corners and balanced waitressing shifts with audition appointments. New York's vibrant off-Broadway scene became his training ground. He joined a small repertory ensemble that staged new plays by emerging playwrights in converted loft spaces and black box theaters. His breakthrough came in 1999, when he wrote and performed a one-man show titled Vertigo Tales, weaving narratives of personal identity, social perception, and human longing. The production toured to the Edinburgh Festival Fringe in Scotland, where it garnered critical notice for its innovative structure and Dinklage's magnetic presence. Reviewers highlighted his ability to shift seamlessly between characters: a despairing lover, a wise elder, and an exuberant young dreamer, exemplifying a range that defied narrow categorization. Concurrently, he began to secure small roles on television and in independent films. He appeared in episodes of Law and Order and NYPD Blue, portraying everything from a streetwise informant to a tragic victim, each performance imbued with intelligence and nuance. His first feature film credit was in the Danny DeVito helmed Living in Oblivion, a darkly comic exploration of the frustrations faced by low-budget filmmakers. Released in 2002, the film introduced Dinklage to a wider circle of industry insiders, who took note of the depth he brought to even the smallest part. Yet it was his portrayal of Finbar McBride in Tom McCarthy's debut feature The Station Agent, released in 2003, that marked his arrival as a leading actor with an unmistakable voice. As Finbar, a solitary man seeking anonymity in a small railway town, he conveyed a profound emotional landscape through subtle gestures: a slow blink, a measured step, or a tentative greeting, demonstrating that vulnerability could possess as much gravity as bravado. The film won the Audience Award at the Sundance Film Festival and garnered widespread acclaim, with critics lauding Dinklage's performance as hauntingly real and refreshingly human, and industry peers praising him for redefining expectations of leading man presence. By the time The Station Agent began its festival circuit, Peter Dinklage had transitioned from promising newcomer to an actor whose artistry compelled audiences to look beyond superficial preconceptions. He continued to draw attention with supporting roles in commercially successful projects, performing with infectious warmth in the holiday comedy Elf, lending gravitas to the fantasy adventure X-Men: Days of Future Past, and showcasing his vocal talents in animated features. Yet even as offers streamed in, he remained guided by the lessons of his early years, that authenticity trumped artifice, that perseverance in the face of doubt bore fruit, and that one's contributions to the cultural tapestry extended far beyond trophy cases. At this stage in his journey, when his nuanced storytelling had captured the attention of both the public and his professional community, but before the global phenomenon of his later television work would elevate him to new heights, Dinklage stood as a testament to the transformative power of creativity and determination. His life and achievements had already left an indelible imprint on the world of performance, honoring the belief that true artistry transcends physical limitations and resonates in the shared human experience, ensuring that his contributions would be remembered with admiration and gratitude for generations to come.